Hey everyone, welcome to a new video, welcome to my channel. My name is Mike and today we are going to be talking about colorful eyeshadow palettes. My top 10 to be exact, because I have quite a few that I really like, but I just wanted to make sure that I showed you like the cream of the crop when it comes to eyeshadow palettes in my book. Of course, you can have a different opinion, that's absolutely fine, don't worry about that. But these would be mine, and actually I'm saying there will be 10, but I've got 11 for you because there's one honorable mention, but that's a palette you can no longer get. So I figured that I would focus mainly on stuff that you can still get. Even though one palette may also be very difficult to get, not entirely sure. Let me just start with the things that are lying on top. And one of the first things that is lying on top is this little Kaleidos Futurism 5 Electro Turquoise palette. This is stunning. This little palette has, 6 shades, and it's got a really nice teal. You'll see I love teals. But then also this like really bright orange shade, which kind of throws you off. But it does have a nice really cool tone brown that ties the entire palette together. You get this like minty turquoisey shade. You get this lovely duochrome shimmer that has blue, green, and a little bit of gold to it, and then you get this really nice silvery sparkling shade as well. So it does have a few neutrals, but to me, in my brain, this still counts. In my brain, this still works as a colorful eyeshadow palette. It's really nicely slim and curated as well. I love the packaging on this, and this is my favorite of the 5 Kaleidos palettes that I have. This is such a unique color story. If you get just one, I would recommend getting this because it's nothing like anything that's currently on the market. Another smaller palette would be the Colourpop Lilac You A Lot. I'm trying to put like my favorite sort of color stories in here. And when I thought of what would be my favorite purple palette, I figured it would be this. This is a lot more purple than the It's My Pleasure, for instance, and it is also an all purple palette, I feel. So I very often feel that purples can be quite pink leaning. So for instance, the Huda Beauty Amethyst Obsessions I also like as a purple palette. But I feel that this, if you want to go all purple, this is perhaps the best one. It is more cooler toned purples though, I do have to say. So that has to be your cup of tea. If you like warmer tones, then maybe the It's My Pleasure may be better for you. Let's also talk about rainbow palettes. I've got, 2, maybe 3 that you could categorize as a rainbow palette, but to me, they all like have a different function. And the first one is the LA Splash Classic Horror palette. I'm not entirely sure if you can still get this. If you can, and you're looking for a rainbow palette that is a bit more grungy and has stunning packaging, I always love doing that. This is it. This not only has stunning packaging, it also has a stunning palette on the inside. As you can see here, it does have a full rainbow. It's got a red, it's got a pink, it actually has 2 different reds because this is a bit deeper, more like blood red. You get a purple, you get a really stunning periwinkle shade, you got a yellow, this is not truly an orange. You also get a green. These shades, to me, are more grungy because they have a certain level of depth to them. Yes, they're bright, but they have like a murkiness to them. And that's what I love about this palette. It really it doesn't really show up in the pan. The only shade in this palette I'm not a big fan of is the black. That's just a bit weird. It also seems to have a little bit of discoloration in the pan from where I've stuck my finger in. But these are very smooth. They're a bit powdery perhaps, but if you use a very light hand, you can very easily build these up. And these are really lovely. So for a grungy rainbow, I would go with this palette. Shall we keep the grunge vibes going for a minute? Because I also want to, of course, chat to you about the Melt Marte palette. And this was apparently limited edition, and you can no longer get it. It's out of stock on Beauty Bay. I can tell you that. I know that much. Why is there eyeshadow all over this palette? But this palette is just absolutely gorgeous. So gorgeous. So you have your greens going into teals and blues, and then it goes into these stunning wine shades, and then you get this really one random it's not even a champagne, it's more like yellow tone than a champagne, so I feel that this shimmer doesn't really go with anything else that's going on in here. So for me, the palette kind of stops there, but this is all color, and I loved all the looks I did with this over the winter time. This is sort of like grungy, colorful goodness. It's very sort of more on the jewel toned end of the spectrum, and I love a good jewel tone. It's just that very often jewel tones come in a palette with lots of neutrals, which is why they're not here. But yeah, you will see that I have plenty of jewel tones in my collection, and this is one of my favorite ones. Another rainbow palette then, because we need to keep them coming, Certifies Tropical Wonders. If you're looking for a good matte rainbow palette, I would say that this has to be your pick. It has everything that you could possibly want. It even has some neutrals and a gray and a black here, so you can really make a look and tie everything together. These are lovely quality. There's enough variety in the shades that even someone like me who loves shimmers can create full looks with this, and I feel there's not that much like that I would still want for. Of course, you can very easily grab a shimmer from another palette, but I feel that a lot of colorful palettes are usually more matte than shimmer for some reason, especially if they are rainbow palettes. So for me, something like this, but then all shimmer, please, can we get that? But yeah, if you're looking for a matte rainbow, look no further, because this is the best one. Shall we also talk about something that I find just very inspirational, but that's also still very colorful, and it's the Feral palette by Menagerie Cosmetics. And this palette it kind of throws you off because it has these two neutrals, and that kind of like makes you think that this is a lot more neutral than it is. The greens in here can also function as neutrals. Like, to me, greens can be neutrals if paired well. But this, depending on how you put the shades together, makes for really stunning, very colorful looks. This red and this yellow are just so vibrant. I love these pinks with the purple. That turquoise shade takes the cake. This duochrome shimmer is really lovely. This is a palette that is just incredibly great quality, really nice, inspiring color story. It's very colorful, very vibrant, without it being like a rainbow palette. So I also wanted to show you some of those options. Let's talk about some of my favorites, shall we? My favorite sort of colors to wear are greens, blues, and purples. So if a lot of those shades come in one palette, then of course I'm going to love it. This is the Ace Beauté Oceanic palette. I was going to say Slice of Paradise, but that's a different palette that they do. And this has greens and blues and like brighter blues, but also these like teals and navies. It is incredibly stunning. This has the right amount of like shimmer versus matte that I like. I would prefer perhaps a few more shimmers because it only has about 6 out of a 15-pound palette. So 1 or 2 more, I would have been even happier. But this is one of the best blue-green palettes on the market, in my opinion. I haven't tried all of them. I still want to try the Menagerie Whale Song palette so I can compare it. But this is absolutely stunning. However, not everybody likes blues. They can be a bit polarizing. Some people just get this 70s or 80s throwback. So what if you like mostly greens? Go with the Juvia's Blaze the Tri palette. This is not a fully green palette, but it has a couple of neutrals. Neutrals, they are oranges mainly. In a way, you only really get one neutral in here, and that's that brown. These two shades look deceivingly simple, but both of these have a green flip. So I feel that these shades plus these shades plus that shade is really where it's at for me in this palette. You can use the brown to make it a bit more neutral, a bit more wearable. To be quite honest, these two oranges I never really go for in my brain, not only because the packaging is green, but also because my favorite shades in this palette are the greens, is why I love this. So these two, and then with that shimmer, it's a look. It's really stunning. These two are super vibrant. This is like a really nice bright grassy green shade, and then you get this like neon-y, yellowy, greenish shade. This is incredibly yummy. This is some of the best eyeshadow quality that Juvia's Place has in their collection, according to me. But what if you like your blues and greens, but you want it to be like, what if you want to take the tribes to the next level? Let's put it that way. OPV Tropical Dreams. This is, well, the Tri palette, but on steroids. That's, you know, you get those oranges as well, but you get more blues in here too, but you also get those teals, you get a bright green, you get that like limey shade as well. You get some really stunning like neutrally shimmers too to tie everything together. And the quality on this, oh my word. Like when I did looks with this, I was amazed with how good this was. It was incredible in its use. And it's sort of like, this is also available in Europe. You can get this from the OPV Beauty website or Beauty Bay. Juvia's Place is also available from Beauty Bay, but you pay a lot more. So I would definitely wait for a sale on the Juvia's Place website and then get this, because it's usually a much better deal. But OPV, if you're in Europe, can be a bit easier to get a hold of and not that expensive. So that's another bonus, I would say. Another colorful palette then that is more Europe-based is the Slush palette by September Rose Cosmetics. I fell in love with this palette. I know that not everybody likes it because there are a few shades in here that are not performing as great as the rest of the palette. For instance, this shade over here, but this is stunning. It's a bright palette. It is rainbow, but it's more neon rainbow. So I've got grungy rainbow, I've got a true rainbow, and I've got bright rainbow for you. That's sort of the flavors I'm giving you here. It doesn't have a true red, and it doesn't have a true orange or a true yellow, but it does have a nice rainbow spectrum. Plus, as you can see, this has some shimmer too. So I love that about it. If you want to be able to make gorgeous sunset eyes, this is the palette for you. It's called the Slush palette, and that's exactly right, because this palette just reminds me of slushies in the summertime. It just does. It just does. So those will be my top 10 colorful eyeshadow palettes. And there's one honorable mention, as I mentioned, because this palette I love, but you can no longer get it. Blush Tribe has been discontinued as a brand. This is the Hasina 2. I told you that I love green, blues, and purples. And this palette does it all in one. If you can still somewhere find it, then definitely look into this. But the brand has been discontinued, so I'm only briefly going to mention it here. This is one of my favorite color stories for a reason. So yeah, there we go. Those were my top 10 colorful eyeshadow palettes. If you would like to see looks with these, or if you would like to see swatches, I've mentioned these in a lot of my previous videos, but some of these I also have already reviewed up on my blog. So I'll make sure to link everything down below so that you can look for swatches and things like that, so you can really have a closer look at these palettes. That was not the purpose of today's video, to show you swatches and looks, but I definitely do have that up either on this channel or on my blog, so make sure you check those out. And then I hope to see you again in my next video. Thank you very much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more by me. I make 3 new videos a week. And this week in August, I'm also posting on Saturdays. So I'm hoping you are enjoying all of this eyeshadow palette content as much as I love my eyeshadows. And stay tuned, because of course I've got more coming your way. Bye-bye!